Name that bass line.
Name that bass line.
Name that bass line, or suffer the consequences.
Howdy ya, bass fans. It's time for yet another episode of the YouTube game that asks you to name that bass line. I'm your host, and no, you have not mistakenly tuned into Eraserhead the Musical. I hope everyone had a great Father's Day last Sunday. I spent the day with my dad. I think we have a photo from when I was about 2 years old of me and Pop. This was taken right after I just gotten my first haircut. Good times. People come up to me almost once a year and say, "Hey, YouTube guy, I'm not a bassist. Can I play Name That Bass Line?" And I'm always quick to say, please step back at least 10 feet. And yes, anyone is encouraged to play. Bassists, guitarists, synth programmers, even non-musicians are welcome. For example, singers or backup dancers. Even the drummer's girlfriend can play. Yes, the one that was making kissy faces at him through an entire Battle of the Bands gig last month. And even though you lost the Battle of the Bands, it's not her fault. I promised I'd stay in my happy place today. So yes, everyone is welcome to play Name That Bass Line. Also, a few weeks ago, back in episode 6, I mentioned that you can now play Name That Bass Line at home on your Super Nintendo gaming system. Unfortunately, sales of the home game have been rather disappointing so far. For those of you who aren't big tech heads, the Super Nintendo gaming console offers advanced 16-bit state-of-the-art graphics and sound, if this were 1991. Want to see what you're missing? Do we have a screen cap of some of the fast-paced, super realistic Super Nintendo Name That Bass Line action? Make sure your subwoofer's on. Heavy bass coming your way.
Hello and welcome to Name That Bass Line. No, I am not Don King's illegitimate nephew. Here's bass line number 1. Here's bass line number 2.
We've come a long way since Pong, right? Who ever thought such realism was possible? Just in case you can't tell the difference, we've now cut back to live action. A few people have been kind enough to leave comments about mistakes I've made in previous episodes, and I pointed out a few of them last week. Since I seem to screw something up in just about every show, I decided to make the corrections into a fun, self-humiliating new segment which I'm calling Name That Bass Blunder. After last week's show, I got a note from Will Lee, the amazing bassist from the CBS Orchestra on Late Show with David Letterman, plus his own Beatles band, the Fab Four. Will is a world-class player and someone I've admired for many years. He wrote, "You're a great bassist and a formidable host. I must ask, why did you play the Day Tripper line down the octave?" Needless to say, I was very excited to get Will's note and super psyched that he's a fan of my little show. In fact, I nearly soiled myself. As far as Day Tripper goes, of course he's absolutely right. I had the correct notes this time, but wrong octave, which is an embarrassing faux pas on my part. How did this happen, you may ask? Because I'm not very good. But I promise to do better next time. And thank you, Will, for setting me straight on this one. I hope this week's Fab Four is up to military muster. Okay, with that exposition out of the way, who's ready to play? We have an eclectic bunch of bass lines for you today, including some from our special guests, Troy, David, and Thomas. If you don't know how the game works, we'll play pieces of 10 signature bass lines from 10 different artists. See if you can guess what they are. If you're really stumped, we'll have some clues along the way, and the answers will be at the end of the video, along with the names of the bassists who played on the original recordings. Great! I'm going to play our first one, and once again, in honor of the legendary bassist, this is Duck Dunn on the 1. Next up, something a little more contemporary. Unfortunately, the bassist on this one also passed away just recently. We're losing too many of the greats. Here's bass line number 2. You may have noticed I had my distortion on for that one. Are you ready for bass line number 3? As always, after 3 comes the Fab 4. This one is usually reserved for a Beatles bass line of some sort. I thought today I might tap into McCartney's solo catalog just to keep everyone on their toes. And since my McCartney head bob impersonation was such a huge hit last week, I thought I'd reprise it again today. Well, I don't understand what could go wrong. Here's the Fab 4 bass line of the week. Don't ask. It's better if I don't talk about what happened. I only have to wear this for a few months. I'll be fine. Want to hear something funky? Here's bass line number 5. I hope this next one doesn't make anyone dizzy. Here's bass line number 6. This next one was recorded at Abbey Road, and the band had already broken up by the time it became a hit. Been there, right? Here's bass line number 7. Okay, by now you're probably sick of hearing me playing all the songs, so how about we bring in some of our guest bassists to mix things up a little bit. First is our resident Rush expert, Troy Hughes, better known as TJH3113 on YouTube. Today he'll be playing something from another progressive band you may know. Here's Troy with bass line number 8.
Name that bass line.
Thank you, Troy. You may want to let the authorities know there are some questionable characters lurking behind you. Might want to have that looked at. Do you like the funk? The slap and the pop and the ghost notes? Well, have we got a treat for you? David Caraccio is in the house. Well, not my house, but he sent us a brand new bass line for today's show. His plethora of Red Hot Chili Peppers bass covers are the pride and joy of YouTube. He makes it all look so easy. See if you can guess what David is playing for us today. Here's bass line number 9.
Name that bass line.
Last but certainly not least, with bass line number 10, here's the super groove master Thomas Rizell, better known as Marlo DK. Make it funky, Thomas, and have a happy birthday too. Here's bass line number 10.
Name that bass line.
Just an FYI, if you ever go out drinking with Marlo DK, do not let him take you to a karaoke bar, and do not let him sing the Diana Ross part on a duet of Endless Love. You'll just have to trust me on this one. I think we have a picture of Thomas and I out drinking before our troubles began. That's going to wrap up this edition of Name That Bassline. Would you like to be a guest bassist on the show? If so, go to our Facebook page for details on how you can submit a video for our next episode. We'll be back on Thursday, July 12th with episode 9, which I hope will be made up entirely of YouTube players. Thanks to Troy, David, and Thomas for helping me out today. Be sure and subscribe to their awesome YouTube channels. And please subscribe to my channel if you want to stay in the loop on when the next episode is uploaded. Tell your friends too. Stay tuned for the answers to today's bass lines. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. You can close your browser because I'm not doing a bonus bass line today. It's too costly to keep the lights on with the summer rates from the power company. Walk away. No bonus. I'm going to get a sandwich.